If you are thinking about moving to North Carolina, we are going to be talking today about what makes the home buying process look a little bit more unique here in North Carolina. So stick around and find out what makes it different.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back. I'm Zach. This is my beautiful wife, Cindy, and pregnant wife, Cindy as well. So pregnant with our third child, so that's really exciting. If you're new to the channel and you have not subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button in the corner. You can also hit the bell to be notified of every time we release a new video. That number on the screen, we put it there because we are licensed real estate brokers in the area, which means as much as we love to make these videos for you, we love to help you with your real estate needs even more. So if you got questions about the area, questions about real estate in the area, we'd love to chat with you, so feel free to reach out. Like Cindy said, today's video is kind of a part two of our last video, which talked about the 2022 market. Today we're going to be talking about a couple of things that make real estate unique in North Carolina, things that I think are really important to know when you're making a decision on whether you want to move into the area, or things you need to know if you have already decided to move into the area. Those two things that we're going to cover, one is coming soon status. There's a little bit of confusion on what that means. We're going to dive into that because I think from talking with other folks in different areas, it varies per area. So we're going to dive into what that means. And then the most important thing we're going to talk about is a thing called due diligence. So those two things are going to be the topics of discussion today. So with that being said, let's dive in.
All right, so like Zach said, we are going to be talking about due diligence. This is something that's really important. So if you don't get anything else out of this video, at least finish this section for sure before thinking about putting an offer in on a home here in North Carolina. But due diligence, it's pretty unique to North Carolina. There are maybe a couple other states that do it, but I think the way we do it might be a little bit different. So a lot of times when we're working with people from out of state, they're pretty shocked or confused by this due diligence thing. So to give you an idea of what it is, due diligence is it's both a time period and also a deposit that is paid by you as a buyer here in North Carolina. So that due diligence deposit buys you a time period to have any inspections done, get your appraisal done if you're using a loan to purchase the home, and then potentially, in the past at least, renegotiate any terms within the contract. Things are really competitive now, so sometimes that renegotiating doesn't really happen so much. But essentially what it is a non-refundable deposit that you are responsible for as the buyer. That number, there's not a set percent or an average amount, you know, it just it really depends property by property, and we see certain numbers like be common for a while, and then it gets more competitive and more competitive and more competitive, and depending on how competitive that individual property is can help us to determine, okay, what would be a good due diligence deposit on this property. But not to get too into the weeds on the amount of that deposit, but essentially you put that deposit down if your offer was accepted, and then after you get your inspections and things done, you know, if there were repairs that needed to happen with the house or something like that, in North Carolina, a seller does not have to do anything at all. So if you put that down, it's not refundable for any reason. There's a leaking pipe, there's structural issues with the house that came up during your inspection, plumbing issues, electrical issues. It doesn't matter what the issue is. You're not getting the money back if you change your mind.
Sounds like a terrible video. But I mean, alongside of what Cindy's saying, so she talked about the time period due diligence. So that's kind of the heart of what due diligence was. I would say what it's become is more of a negotiation tactic. So sometimes you still get that time period. Other times folks waive it for competitive sake. But due diligence amounts have gotten so high. When I say so high, I'm talking 10, 15, 20,000, 30,000 plus, just depending on the area, depending on the property, depending on how many offers there are. So when you're putting amounts into due diligence that high, and it's a non-refundable deposit, obviously that due diligence period that you have where negotiations take place, you're coming from a place of you're coming from a weak place for as far as negotiations go.
Right.
You don't have a lot to stand on anymore when you put those amounts down, and the seller knows that, you know, if you chose to back out, you would lose that. And so it creates a dilemma for buyers. And a lot of folks who are coming in from out of state, that's a shock to them. A lot of folks here in the area who haven't bought a home in a really long time, it's a shock to them as well. And I mean, we do this for a living, and it's a shock to us. You know, when you see some of these numbers that folks are willing to put down in due diligence. But at the end of the day, it does make your offer more competitive, and that's why the prices keep going up in due diligence.
Right. Yeah. So these days, you know, we have people that ask, you know, how can I make my offer competitive? You really have two big things that are going to make your offer stand out in a multiple offer situation. That's going to be the amount you're offering to buy the house for.
Yeah, which I think is still king. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's the most important thing.
And then the due diligence deposit.
Yeah.
Very important too, though, because if a seller is looking at 20 different offers and you only put a small amount in your due diligence deposit, they're going to potentially see higher amounts and have fears that you might be backing out of your deal, or come across as like, oh, they're going to ask for a lot of repairs or concessions or something later down the road. So the higher the due diligence, the more confidence on the seller side that things are going to go smoothly. So that can be really, really helpful with your offer. We said it was non-refundable. That's if you back out of the deal. If you follow through with the purchase of the home, it is credited back to you at the closing table.
Yeah. So that, I mean, it's an important thing to know.
Yes.
But yeah, and one thing that we have not mentioned yet is that money goes directly to the seller, which is another reason why it's appealing. So as soon as you go under contract, so it's not given when you put in an offer, it's given once you're under contract. Once that seller puts their signature, their initials on your offer and a contract is formed, that's when due diligence is paid, and it's given directly to them. And so, you know, once they get it, they can spend it as they please. And so, you know, that's another reason that it's become a competitive thing. We do have another deposit here in North Carolina called earnest money. It's kind of, I'm not going to get in the weeds with that one because it's just not as common anymore, and a lot of that has to do with it's refundable up to a certain point in the contract period, and so it's just not as a competitive. It's not as risky of a deposit as due diligence.
Right, so. And that's kind of the standard one you see in most states. So that's one you might be familiar with already. So that's kind of the difference between the two. But the one you need to know the most about in today's video purpose would be the due diligence deposit.
Yep. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is coming soon status. So your area that you're moving from may have something very similar to this, but I still like to hit it because it does cause some confusion for folks. So a home that is listed as coming soon, you might see some pictures of it, there might be information available, but essentially it's still an off-market property. And the reason why this is important is showings on this particular property that's coming soon are not allowed, but in most cases, that seller is still willing to accept offers in coming soon status. And so what you end up with are folks putting in offers sight unseen on a coming soon house. And I mean, we see coming soon homes go under contract all the time, and it confuses folks in the early stages of looking, because they see this coming soon home, showings aren't available yet, but it's going under contract. And essentially what it is folks, they like the area, they like the few pictures of the home that they can see, and they're just willing to take a risk and put sight unseen offers in. And so that's why coming soon is important. So in a normal market, coming soon wouldn't matter at all, but in today's market, it does, just because folks are willing to put in those sight unseen offers.
Right. Yeah, especially we see it a lot in Cary and Apex. Particularly, I don't know why it's so much more popular there for some reason, but a home will coming soon. There might be a few pictures of the outside, and you know, you're interested in it. We might schedule a showing for that weekend when it's actually active, and before the showing, it's already under contract because, you know, they had some sight unseen offers that came in that were really compelling, and the seller found to be really good. So typically, you know, if it's going to go off market in the coming soon, it's usually a really standout offer. most of the time, you know. So that's something we like to kind of warn people about, but that's also an opportunity for you if you're someone that knows that that neighborhood is definitely where they want to be and you're willing to risk not being able to tour the house in person or virtually or anything like that, then coming soon could be a good way to be more competitive in the market.
Yeah, it can be. And I mean, it's not uncommon to have multiple offers and coming soon. But the times that we've put offers in for folks, the sight unseen offers and coming soon, the nice thing about it is we can essentially call the listing agent and be like, what will you take it off the market for? And then so it's less of a guessing game in that situation.
Yeah,
because
sometimes.
Sometimes, because you know sometimes you can get that exact number, put the offer in, and you're good to go. But it's still sight unseen, so it's risky.
Yeah, you don't know if it smells bad or if there's like a lot of wear and tear that you can't really tell from pictures or anything like that. So you just have to know that no matter what, you're gonna be happy with just the location.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, thanks so much for watching today's video. The past 2 weeks' videos have been difficult to make because they're not. Today's topic was very boring, but it was important. It was important, so we'll try to do maybe a more exciting video or something.
Do something
next week.
fun next week.
Yeah,
I promise.
But anyway, thanks for watching today's video. Hopefully it was helpful for you. If you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button in the corner. You can also hit the bell to be notified of every time we release a new video. That number on the screen, like I said earlier, that's our number. Feel free to reach out to us. You can text it, call it, if you have any questions about the area, any questions about real estate, or you just heard all this stuff about due diligence and it's really confusing and you want more clarification on it, we'd love to chat with you. My email address is below, so feel free to hit me up via email if that's more comfortable for you. And then social media.
You can also follow us on social media. If you head over to Instagram, you can find us at The Honeycut Realtors, or you can go to our website, honeycutrealtors.com, and that's honeycut with a O-H-O-N-E-Y. There's some other honeycut teams out there, and that's not us, so make sure to find the right one.
That link's below as well.
Yeah, so we'd love to reach out and hear from you guys soon, and thank you for watching the video.
Yeah, but thanks again, and we will see y'all next time.